rule about fighting, Fred. You want to fight somebody, you come fight me.
You're dealing with me now. Be a man! Be a fucking man!
Good news, folks. The Yellowstone universe is back in the saddle, and this time, it's all about Beth and Rip. Yeah, you heard it right. Our favorite duo is getting their own spinoff, and you know what? We've just got a major update. A trailer is on the way, and the release date has finally been revealed. We've got a lot to unpack from their new beginnings after leaving Dutton Ranch to fresh theories, returning faces, and buried secrets that could come back to haunt them. We're diving deep into what this new chapter means for Beth, Rip, and maybe even Carter. So saddle up and hold on to your horses because we're breaking it all down together. First things first, in one of his interviews, Cole Hauser said this new show will be nothing like Yellowstone, and if you've been following Beth and Rip for a while, you can probably guess what that means. They're not just moving to a new ranch, this is a full reset. There will be no John Dutton calling the shots, no family name to defend, no land war dragging them in every other week. So now we get to see who they really are without all that. And more importantly, what does that mean for us, watching them in episode 1? For Beth, it's going to hit hard. She's always been sharp, calculated, brutal because she had to be. But here, we might finally see her slip. Sure, she'll probably still be biting heads off with her usual charm, but don't be surprised if she starts showing cracks, a little vulnerability, a little confusion about who she's supposed to be when there's no enemy in sight, or at least until one shows up. And when it comes to Rip, you might finally see a man figuring out what building a life actually looks like. After years of protecting and defending, maybe he gets to just live. And if you've ever wondered what kind of father figure he could be, this is it, the moment we find out. Because Carter's here too. You remember our boy Carter, right? That poor kid they sort of adopted but never fully brought in. In Yellowstone, he was always circling around but never fully in. And if you're anything like me, I know you felt really sorry for this boy. But out here, things might actually get real, since he's the third character confirmed to star in the show. And something tells me their dynamic is about to change in a big way, and man, I'm so here for it. Back then, Rip tried to be a father. He took Carter in, gave him work, and tried to teach him how to survive. On the other hand, Beth refused to connect with him and didn't offer warmth, guidance, or even patience. She even told him that she's nobody's mama, and feel free to disagree, but that was kind of brutal. But it wasn't just coldness. Beth's history made her reject the whole idea of motherhood before it even had a chance. Carter was a reminder of something she lost. But out here, we might see things change. It's just the three of them now, and a whole lot of unsaid things between them. That's why episode 1 could set the tone fast. You might see Carter try again to be part of their family. In return, Rip might lean in more and try to guide him in a way he couldn't before. When it comes to Beth, well, if she even lets her guard down for 1 second, we will feel it, and so will Carter. Because when it's quiet like this, the emotional stuff hits louder. And I've got a feeling it's all coming to the surface, starting with episode 1. Now we gotta talk about Jaimes' death because man, Yellowstone barely touched it after it happened and left us with questions. In the season 5 finale, Beth shot her own brother and Rip helped bury the body. But somehow, the show moved on like it was just another Tuesday on the ranch. Don't you think it's a bit off because you don't just kill a Dutton and walk away clean? At least not in this universe. So, what made this so brutal was how long it had been coming. I remember that moment wasn't some shocking twist because it was years of tension finally breaking. Beth and Jaimes' relationship had been toxic from the start, and it wasn't just your typical sibling bickering. Jaimes betrayed her in the worst possible way by secretly sterilizing her when they were teenagers, a decision that rewrote the course of her entire life. She never forgave him. I know she's all crazy and all that, but at this point, who can blame her? But the real trigger was Jaimes' involvement in their father's death. Sure, he didn't pull the trigger, but he stood by and watched it happen. He knew everything, and he didn't stop. That was the last straw of Beth putting up Jaimes. So what did she do? Pulled the trigger and lit a cigarette like it was another day. It was pretty badass to watch, if you know what I mean, but that's exactly why it's hard to believe this story's really over. There's a real chance this spinoff won't let them off the hook so easily. There might be someone asking questions or someone already knows, but whatever it is, that murder could come crawling back into their lives right when they're trying to start fresh. Them trying to settle into a new life and past haunting them might be just the tension we are looking for. And if it does, episode 1 might be where we see the first cracks. Beth could be more alert than usual, always looking over her shoulder. Rip might start tightening the fences a little too early. Now that we've talked about what might await us in this new chapter, let's take a peek at what kind of predictions are flying around the internet, because y'all, these might be some of the most out-of-the-wall theories I ever heard. Or surprisingly on point, you decide. One person, and I swear I'm not making this up, said Beth and Rip are going to move to Miami, where Beth becomes a blood splatter analyst and starts hunting down criminals like she's Dexter. Rip, of course, helps her dispose of the bodies. Look, I love the chaos, but come on. Beth Dutton with a crime lab badge? This sounds like someone fell asleep watching Yellowstone after CSI, Miami. Is it entertaining? Absolutely. Is it realistic? Let me know in the comments. Another person claimed that Rip might reach out to old faces like Casey, Lloyd, or even Mo, saying this new ranch life might still need a few trusted hands. When you think about how Rip always followed orders but never ran the show alone, it kind of makes sense. I can actually see him calling in someone from the past, even if it's just for one episode. A familiar voice on the phone, a quiet visit, maybe even a warning. Wouldn't that hit the right spot? And then there's the darker stuff. What if Jaimes never really died? Think about it. Beth shot him, sure, but what if they didn't check? What if they just assumed he was dead, buried him, and moved on like it was handled? It wouldn't be the first time someone in this universe came back from something they weren't supposed to survive. Imagine the spinoff giving us a slow burn. Episode 1 starts with a quiet knock at the door, Rip sensing something off, Beth suddenly slipping back into that cold, calculated mode. If Jaimes still alive and out there planning his revenge, you already know he's not coming back to talk. And if you ask me, I wouldn't be surprised if someone from the past shows up not to help, but to threaten what they're trying to build. Not as wild as Miami Beth, but just enough to shake things up in episode 1. Now let's talk about the one thing we're all excited to find out about: the release date. The spinoff was originally set for late 2025, but Paramount quietly delayed it to 2026. No exact date yet, but that's where we stand. So when can we expect the first trailer? If filming starts soon, a teaser could drop late 2025 or early 2026. And based on what we know so far, we already have a pretty good idea of what might be in it. We know Beth, Rip, and Carter are returning. We know Cole Hauser said the show will be nothing like Yellowstone. That tells us this trailer probably won't open with gunfire or land disputes. Instead, we might see quiet shots of the new ranch. Distant, unfamiliar, a slower pace. Carter standing apart, Beth on edge, Rip scoping the land like something doesn't sit right. And if you've seen what the cast has been saying, it adds even more to that picture. Cole Hauser told fans it'll still carry that same raw emotional weight we've seen for years. Meanwhile, Kelly Riley described Beth as 10 women in one, hinting that we're finally going to see more sides to her than just the fire and fury. So yeah, expect the trailer to lean into all that tension. If they tease any conflict early, it might be tied to the past Jaimes Death, someone knocking on their door, or even just a look that says, "We're not safe here." And if any of those theories are right, you can bet the trailer's going to leave us with more questions than answers. Whatever this spinoff throws at us, one thing's clear: episode 1 won't waste time. It's the calm before the storm, and we're here for every second of it. Let me know about your theories in the comments below, and watch this video next.